Hello, everyone. Welcome to the closing ceremony of Learning Planet Festival 2024, which is more like a wrap-up. We're going to watch the key highlights or hear about the key highlights and also really discuss what is coming next, because the Learning Planet platform will be now live throughout the year. We really want to welcome you throughout the year. So this is a big change. We're thinking that the festival is a great moment. There's been more than 500, maybe 600 events over the last 4 days in France and across the world. Every day we receive messages to discover some new things. Yesterday we received a video from Mexico with 900 people participating in an event, Learning Planet Festival event in Mexico, and we didn't really know them before, so that was really fantastic. So today we've got many very great partners who have always been supporting the festival, and we have new partners also. So it's all about hearing about what you've been doing and what are your dreams for what is coming next. So I won't be speaking very much, because the real secret of this festival is that it is co-created with plenty of partners and co-created with many people in the team. So I don't have anything left to do, really. It's kind of a very easy job now to be coordinating the festival. So without further ado, I will invite Bertille to run this panorama of what has been happening during the festival. Bertille, the floor is yours, and I'm really looking forward to hearing all your stories.
Thank you, Olivier. I hope that you hear me well. So yeah, as Olivier gave it away, my name is Bertille Desborderies. I'm head of communication at the Learning Planet Alliance. And I arrived about 2 months ago. So it was really in the midst of the preparation of this festival, which is a lovely way to start. Which you start a job like that, you want to learn about what it looks like to transform education, and it's not that simple to understand. And I think that this festival ultimately is here to bring about the practice of it, like really tangible, impactful projects, methodologies that are happening around the world. So I'm really happy to arrive at that time. And from a communication standpoint, it's also very exciting, because it's part of the job, listening to all of you, working collectively to highlight these stories also. And so I don't want I don't want to take all the time of this session speaking about me. I'm stepping into the role of timekeeper today, and so I will be kind of the guardian of punctuality. So I just have a few sacred rules that we have to keep in mind. Keep it sharp, keep it like right on schedule. I invite you to speak for maybe 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes, to convey your key learnings around your sessions, which is a great exercise to do for anyone interested with pitching and the art of persuasion and rhetoric. But you can count on me. If you exceed your time limit, I'll be there to gracefully step into hit the pause button. So what I invite you to do is maybe to feel free to add links on the chat, elements to deep dive on projects, so that everyone can access interesting material that you are talking about, and that everyone can learn more about them. So the first person that I invite to speak is Eva from who is associate at Big Change. And that's truly amazing to start with you, Eva, as I was talking about communication. And I think that the only way to do great communication is to start good conversation. So you've been running the first ever big education conversation global relay, where you've asked a simple question to people: what do you believe is the purpose of education? So Eva, the floor is yours to tell us more about these 4 sessions you've run.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and thank you Learning Planet Festival for holding space for our community connect and learn from each other. It's been a brilliant experience. I'll keep it short, and I'm speaking also on behalf of Eloise, who has orchestrated the entire big education conversation. So before I share the key learnings, just a couple of moments on what is a big education conversation. It's a space to talk about the purpose of education. So what do we want education to be for? It's intergenerational. And it includes at least 2 stakeholder groups: parents, teachers, system leaders, young people. And for the first time since its launch at the United Nations General Assembly Transforming Education Summit about 1.5 years ago, we hosted a big education conversation global relay across 4 different time zones in the same day here at Learning Planet Festival. And we co-hosted this event with Learning Creates Australia, Dream a Dream from India, Remake Learning in the US, People for Education in Canada, Right to Succeed, and Heads Up for Head Teachers in England. So a lot of different really on-the-ground expert partners involved. And 76 people joined from 9 different time zones and 22 different countries. So it has really been a global conversation about the purpose of education. And I'm just sharing one thing that came up from these conversations, and that's just a spark. And in the chat, I will share more resources. So if you're curious about it, I invite you to explore these resources, sign up for a future community call. But we asked all the participants for a commitment, like what after these conversations about the purpose, what's one thing you want to do or you want to start in your community. And one thing we heard again and again, and I'm sharing this commitment now from Vincent, from Learning Creates Australia, it's to make connections and to speak to more people rather than speaking at people. So really listening with empathy, asking a lot of questions, and finding the things people have in common to then build alliances and join forces with people who are also on a mission to change and transform education. And I want to give a shout out to Richard, who actually joined 2 calls in the very morning, in the very late evening, because he said one conversation is not enough, and it isn't. So I'll stop now because I know the time is short and there are more people who want to share. By just pasting the links into the chat, you can explore the website, you can look at the slides, look at more commitment cards that were created, and sign up for our community call end of February. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eva. Now we would love to hear Pavel. Pavel, you are the co-founder of the Waving Lab, director and founder of Global Education Future, and it's your 5th, I think, 5th participation to the festival, and you've led the session on a burning issue, which is about peaceful futures, so moving towards peaceful futures. Can you please tell us more about it?
Yeah, but I also would like to use this opportunity to share more broadly what I think is a kind of theme that and maybe a role that this festival holds for the world. So I feel one of the most important things that actually happened, and I was very, very pleased to be part of it, was the actual birth of Planetism University. And it actually, the birth happened through not through a design that was done by a small group of people, but it was actually an open call to the community of learners, to the community of young leaders to co-create, to participate, and through the challenge where people from all over the world could express their views of what Planetism University could be, it actually started to take shape. I think there is a long way ahead of us, but actually one of the learnings for me is something that our friend Jack Manning expressed when he said, we are Planetary University. It's happening now, it's happening here, and all of our sessions, all of our conventions, all of our conversations and projects are actually part of it. And that to me is also the message that we need to start seeing ourselves as a movement in making, not as isolated activities, as isolated projects that people frequently focus on what they are doing and disregard that other people are doing the same thing in different locations. But once we start to see ourselves as part of this emerging university, I think it's a right way for us to go and start connecting with each other, start seeing that all of us are in this. And that brings me to the issue of peace. Because yes, on one hand, peace has been one of the biggest concerns of the last year. Youth Talk, which was presented in this festival, highlighted that it's a #1 concern for young people. UNESCO has made it a focal theme for their Education Day. But when we look into the subject of peace, it's actually not just the absence of wars. It's actually the aspect of harmonization within and between individuals and communities. So actually discovering this harmony within ourselves, in relationship with others, between our communities in the world, and most importantly with the planet, is what peace actually is. And that kind of highlights some of very important conversations in this domain, which are about, first of all, we need to listen to each other. We need to recognize we are not alone in this. We are with others. We are with others, and not just other humans. We are with all the planet that wants us to start looking into ways of living differently. And ways of living differently is not just fixing problems. There was a lot of conversation in my mind where we saw this juxtaposing. A lot of people have this problem-solving mind, but is the world a problem? Are humans a problem? Are they, or are they something else? And actually, if we stop seeing ourselves through the frame of problems and start seeing ourselves in the way of harmonizing, in discovery of new ways of being and new ways of living, that's to me a pathway to the future. So to me, the central question I hold for us is we more alone, is something that I think our friend Luis Camargo is maybe one of the best manifestations of this, is the idea that we need to stop seeing ourselves only as problem solvers. We need to see ourselves as people in discovery of new ways of learning together for collective flourishing, for human and planetary flourishing. And in that regard, for me, this planetary university in emergence is actually where we open up to learn with the planet and to learn for this evolution that needs to happen. And that
I'm sorry,
I'm cutting down. I'm making the last statement. So in that regard, I see the central question: how can we learn with planet? How can we learn together to be genuinely planetary university where humans are no longer opposed but support planetary processes? And that's to me the mission of this Learning Planet movement, and that's to me the mission of planetary university in making. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for providing this perspective. So going on to youth perspectives now with Marine Adang, you've conducted a survey around the expectation of young on youth and young people regarding education, youth empowerment. Can you tell us 2 or 3 learnings that came out of it?
Yes, thank you very much, Bertie. So yes, hello everyone, I'm Marine, and for over a year now, I've been leading this largest global youth consultation called Youth Talks. We've had 45,000 participants from 212 countries and territories who shared about 1 million ideas on the future of our world. The link is in the chat, by the way. So in this 1.5 to 2 minutes, I wanted to share a couple of key messages with you. First, I'd like to, of course, warmly thank François, Olivier, and all the teams at LPF for this incredible opportunity. The festival has been a chance to amplify these voices, the voices of the young people, and inspire many people, I hope. I believe the results of the first edition of Youth Talks perfectly support the Planetism University and all the discussions that took place during the festival. Indeed, the most striking result of Youth Talks is that when asked about what they want to learn at school, and I emphasize at school or university, young people are urging us to allow them to relearn human values and virtues like respect, empathy, open-mindedness, solidarity, and you know what, even love. So they make it very clear that they want to flourish as individuals, serving the collective well-being. In fact, with simple and very raw words, they are asking for exactly what Planetism University advocates for, which is relearning to live together for a collective agency that will inevitably lead to healing ourselves, others, and the planet. Interestingly, young people are not talking about technology in Youth Talks. Quite surprising, I think. The philosopher Edgar Morin, in a recent article, talks about the uncontrolled progress of technologies, leading us to a regression in thinking. These technologies and the domination of calculation coupled with our very technocratic world, in fact, fail to grasp, I believe, the complexity of reality and especially human realities. So this leads to what, as you can see these days, individualism, dogmatism, and even the weakening of our democracies that we witness right now. So the solution, according to the philosopher Morin, is, and I quote, "We must go back to think and act for the unifying forces of fraternity, life, and love." So you know how funny, this is exactly what young people are telling us in the Youth Talk survey. So they are pleading for a return to more humanity, echoing the sentiments of Edgar Morin, who, by the way, has seen a century pass. So maybe there is something there. Is this a naive vision? I don't think so. You know, the youth are more clear-sighted in this regard because, unlike us, they are not trapped in outdated paradigms, already proven harmful, by the way, to humanity and the collective. So that's something to really keep in mind regarding what we can learn from youth. So to conclude, I believe the Learning Planet Festival is an extraordinary event for sharing comments, creating synergies, and stop working in isolation. You just mentioned, Pavel. This is the first example of collective agency, in fact. A transition from individualism to collectivism, from competition to cooperation. And this may seem obvious, but you need to remember that this is not how we educate our youth these days. You know, in school, they are in competition, learning that each must outdo the other for individual success, and often at the expense of others, by the way. So a heartfelt thanks to the festival for allowing us to embark together on this profound, I believe, societal transformation. Thank you all for this amazing work, and let's keep going.
Thank you very much, Marine. And now we are going to hear from Shahab, who is director at the R&D, director at here at the Learning Planet Institute. And I know that, Shahab, you've presented a lot of time the project to us, We Learn, which is, I think, a project based on AI to empower people to learn more about sustainability. So I'll let the floor to you, Shahab.
Thank you, Bertie. Hi, everybody. My name is Shahab Nastar. I'm the R&D director, indeed, at the LPI. There are two sessions I was involved with at the festival. Both had to do with AI and learning. So the first session, indeed, was about We Learn, the We Learn prototype that is developed in my team at the LPI. We Learn is an AI prototype based on validated quality resources related to SDGs. So learners interact with We Learn in a conversational manner, in a chatbot manner, except that the responses are all about the SDGs, and they are sourced, and they are quality responses. We Learn has still a long way to go before becoming a product. So it's not a product yet, it's a prototype. This was the first time we were showing it publicly to get some early feedback and to think about features that we would develop in the future. But we received excellent positive feedback, and it was a very successful session. The second session I was involved with, also about learning and AI, was quite different. It was a panel I facilitated that was about, can we learn ethics from AI? More precisely, can we learn planetism ethics from AI? And the panelists who were there, they were philosophers, mathematicians, and it was interesting to hear that the consensus was a big yes. We can learn ethics from AI. One example that is interesting comes from a recent study where they gave moral dilemmas to an AI and also to a philosopher, and asked the users which answers were useful. Well, guess what? The AI's answer were as useful to the users than those of the expert philosopher. So it doesn't prove anything, but it goes in the direction. And more generally, it was noted in the panel that AI can teach us ethics, maybe because we as humans are not ethical enough on average. And the coevolution of AI ethics and human ethics was seen as a a key element for the future of the planet. I think my colleagues have been kind enough to put the links in the chat, so please reach out if you're interested on these topics, and thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Shahab. Now I'm going on to another project with Sheshav, who is a founder of the DAIS in India. Sheshav, you are working toward youth empowerment, and you just did the closing ceremony of the two sessions on Model UN, which this year is on mental health, self-esteem, education. Would you please give us more insight about what you've learned during these 2 days?
Thank you so much. Let me before that congratulate as ever the brilliant Learning Planet team. I've had the good fortune of seeing the festival grow over the past few years. Some familiar faces as well here. We organized a Model UN for young students. When I say young, we had 13-year-olds also in the conversation. We started off with, and we saw participation from the World Health Organization, UNESCO team, besides the wonderful Olivier, Francois, Ed during the festival. Now, key learnings that emerged out of that, I think 3 points. The first was the need for continuing education for children in conflict areas. That was a big theme that was noted by the young people, because they are seeing the Israel-Palestine issue unfold. They're seeing Ukrainian war since the last 2 years, and so many other conflicts globally. So they talked about all the efforts that need to be made to make sure that education should not be discontinued for any nationality, any particular child. The second was ensuring gender equality and access to education. This was again a very important theme that was highlighted through the entire time, especially because we had participants from India, Afghanistan, South Africa, again, areas where we have seen a lot of inequality in terms of access. Third key point was using technology to facilitate education in many spaces. And I think Francois was there in the closing session. We had a 15-year-old Afghan girl from Kabul joining in who said, all I have is a little cell phone and all of you with me connected. And that is what gives me strength to continue to do what I do. So I thought that was quite profound. Now, the next steps for us is that we also launched a massive open online course on Model UN and access to education in Africa and Asia with the University of South Africa, which currently has about 450,000 learners. And it's a resource which will be actively available from March for young people around the world. We also showcased a mental health project where which we have started with our partners. We were doing group therapy sessions for Afghan girls through online interventions, which is being coordinated and led by Afghan girls on the ground as well in Afghanistan. And I think the final thing I'd say, moving forward with Francois, we are looking at something called as a remodel UN as a space to rethink the global structures, because they have failed in creating solutions or peace for that matter in the current situation. So once again, thank you to everyone. Special shout out to Ed. I haven't been able to do that, but Ed has been like the heart and soul of this entire project and the collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shesha, for your input. Now we can, I can just give the floor to Charlotte. She's a visiting professor at Arizona State University. Thanks a lot, Charlotte. You've coordinated so many events that are organized by Arizona State University. And could you please give us a few highlights, tell us what happened on campus especially?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for all the support from the LearningPlanet Alliance team here, well, there in Paris. And also, I coordinated actions from a wonderful team of people here, volunteers, PhD students, professors, youths, other students, undergrad students, teachers in the area, change makers all over the region. So it's all very collective, really. So this year, the Learning Planet Festival in Arizona was all about making connections, connecting worlds that do not usually meet, topics to audiences that do not usually hear about them, and people together to multiply their power of action. So it was just amazing. A few events that struck me were, for instance, the presentation by middle school students of their work. This has been ongoing for years. They are doing agrivoltaics, so agriculture under photovoltaic panels, and the enthusiasm around their activities was huge, and you could tell that they were really happy to make public what they were doing, and the fact other teachers from other schools were also seeing this. I mean, this shows how action can, when it's made public, lead to other people's actions, etc. It's a transmittable disease to get engaged and do stuff to change things around us, and we can all have actions, have potential agency. We also connected Fresh Start, which is with Worldly Women Foundation. So Fresh Start is helping women in difficult situations to get an education and get back on their feet and get their life together and move forward. So this was also very enlightening and interesting. We connected people who take care of retired people, retirement homes, with education stakeholders, higher education in particular, and this was also very enlightening. There were a lot of conversations of people who were meeting at the festival. Mostly what I would like to say is that we need something like the Learning Planet Festival to multiply the impact of actions, and also keep our spirits high in a time that can be sometimes stressful, or we can be worried about the future, and realizing through something like the Learning Planet Festival here that there are many ways in which we can improve things around us, in which we can combine our forces to promote change is very crucial. I think it brings a lot of positivity, and
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but mostly that's.
Thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, clearly bringing everyone together is the best way to get things done. So thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Eri, who is Executive Director of Youth by Youth. And Eri, you are closely connected to us through the Youth by Youth Festival. That is an initiative which is powered by young people to transform education also. And it's actually happening right now. So maybe you can talk about what are the key learnings, insights that are emerging from this edition.
Yes, thank you very much for that warm invitation. And my name is Eri Oluwadeyinka, and I'm representing Youth by Youth in this conversation. So Youth by Youth is a community of young people supported by adults as radically imagine education. I see many of our allies on this call, and if I have to have 2 minutes, so I can't do mention names, but a big shout out to everybody who has been a big part of our allyship system and supporting Youth by Youth. One interesting thing that we have introduced in this year Learning Festival is that for us, the Learning Festival started 10 days ago for us, even though we are doing this weekend, because we embrace the meetups that are called local meetups. And local meetups, according to us, are locally led, youth-centered, community-driven meetups and conversations that are globally supported. So our theme for this year is what do we need to know, what do we need to live, how do we need to live, and how do we need to weave the world of our deepest longing. So what we've been doing is we've been going to local communities. We have 9 hubs across 6 countries in Africa, and we've been asking and engaging with these young people to connect and contribute to the global conversation so that we can learn from this collective wisdom. Most times it is like the global conversations, and we take all of these insights that we get to the local communities. But how can we create a system where there is a process of people in the local communities actually contributing their collective wisdom to this global compass. So even though we have 3 days of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at the moment, the Learning Festival at Youth is still currently going on, you can register. But we've started 10 days ago, having local meetups in six countries to allow people to contribute to the conversations and actually form something that we are trying to. The Knowledge Garden is going to be that open source space, for people to contribute to various conversations. So yeah, I'm super glad. I see that you have unable to close my video, but I know you can still hear me. But I'm just really glad that we are doing this and we are a part of this alliance. So thank you so much, everyone. And if you would like to follow us, it's youthbyouth.com, and every other details that you need also can be found on our website. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harry. Now we are going to leave the floor to Ozaretin, Manager of Wellbeing and Diversity at African Leadership University. So Ozaretin, you were part of the jury for the Planetizen University Challenge. You've spoken at the Ikigai session, and it's the first year you joined the festival. So maybe you want to tell us your first impressions and tell us about your experience.
Thank you so much, Betty. It's been wonderful, just being a part of this conversation. And shout out to Ed for all of your emails and, for all of the questions asking if I wanted to be a part of this. And I'm excited that I came in here and I became, and I'm a part of this. For the first time as a jury member, it was just so fascinating. So beautiful to read all of the different ideas that were coming out of people all around the world. So I'm a trained developmental psychologist. So rethinking education is something I have been, thinking about since I was in school, and it's fantastic that we are using the curiosity of young people to actually fuel education for the future. I mean, how best can we do that? So I'm really excited, to just be a part of all of these conversations, to be in spaces and to see ideas come to life. I was so excited about one of the ideas. My feedback was literally yes in capital letters, just because it resonated with me so much. And I'm really just, I'm glad to be here, and I look forward to being a part of, future conversations. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ozaretin. Now we are going to talk about one of the most moving sessions of the festival, inviting Professor Victoria Fontan to talk. She's head of the Alliance for the Education of Women in Afghanistan. And so, yeah, can you just tell us about this session, your work, your plans with the Alliance? I'm not sure that we hear you very well. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Hello,
Okay.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be with you and to indeed account for this amazing session that took place yesterday. I think that the stars of that show are the women and girls in Afghanistan who still wish to pursue an education in spite of the terrible circumstances that they face. They are trapped at home. Some of them have expressed, not during that session, but within our network, that they are buried alive. They cannot go to parks, that they cannot go out, they cannot work. And the only window into the world is through education. So in this session, we have heard about so many different initiatives that are helping them on a daily basis to continue accessing this education. What's really important, the most important takeaway is number one, the courage of the learners, and number two, that learning is still taking place and that it will not go away in spite of all the different restrictions that exist. We have discussed how different organizations and different endeavors can join forces in an alliance, both the current alliance that exists, but with new partners such as this one, to make sure that we collaborate. We share information about what we're doing and how we can create a pathway for a learning cycle for those students to continue to learn on a daily basis from secondary to maybe tertiary education, and to also going abroad. And in doing that, making sure that all this learning is accredited, is certified, is recognized between institutions and also internationally. It's extremely important that the Afghan institutions that exist in Afghanistan are continuing in their endeavor to keep teaching Afghan women and girls, because that is going to ensure that, should circumstances change, the learning that took place will be recognized, and also those institutions can continue their mission when circumstances will change, because they will. One last point is that everybody on that call and in this panel was absolutely clear that education is a human right, and it is a humanitarian endeavor. It is not a pawn that is to be used in negotiations between local parties and the international community. Women are not to be pitted against all those different interlocutors. And we, as institutions and as partners gathered in an alliance, have a primary responsibility to the learners that want to keep learning, and no one else. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So now I yield the floor to Valérie Anon, co-founder of Global Education Leaders Partnership. Sorry. You also joined the Afghan Girls session. So and just before there was a big session on fostering human flourishing. And I know that you've been playing a key role in publishing a report on learning ecosystem in the global south. So super interesting. Can you tell us more about all these projects?
I need to say, Bertie, first of all, that they are all deeply interconnected. And I guess for me, the connecting thread is the idea that we're moving out of the silos of institutions, single institutions, to interconnected ecosystems, really devoted to kind of liberating, if you like, the sequestered assets for learning, which are present in every community, every single community, no matter how deprived and disadvantaged it is. So to be very specific, because it's the major partnership that we have with the LearningPlanet Institute, we were thrilled last year to publish our report looking at local learning ecosystems in the global south. A term that not everyone finds very helpful, but perhaps I should just describe it as in communities facing profound adversity, very different types of adversity. You just heard of one there, of course, perhaps one of the worst in the world in Afghanistan. But we were looking across South America, in Asia, and in Africa. Poverty, of course, is often a common denominator, but we were looking to an adversity of many different types, including profound misogyny, as we've just heard about in Afghanistan, gang cultures, which are disfiguring many communities, and indeed migration, particularly now, the new phenomenon of climate change-powered migration. So looking at communities who are in those adverse circumstances, what can ecosystems bring to bear? So we looked at 11 fantastic case studies across the world, some of whom joined us in the festival. But I suppose I'm just going to finish my 2-minute highlights by saying we're really, really hopeful now that we have the resources and the support to continue this work next year. That's a partnership between LearningPlanet, Dream a Dream, and the Global Education Leaders Partnership to pursue this concept in communities facing adversity by creating 3 big global hubs And we're going to be pursuing a process of co-design with people in those communities to see how they could create fantastic resource centers, networks of communication, with the idea of accelerating and making more profound and sustainable, or regenerative, I perhaps should say, rather than sustainable, this approach to education. So we're hopeful. Please stay in touch. I'm sure we'll be, I hope if Learning Planet do another festival next year, we'd be very happy to report back in, or through whatever means we can to keep in touch with you all. So thank you, Bertie.
Thank you so much, Valerie. We will try our best to, to keep this ball rolling. Now I will leave the floor to Penny Hay, who is a professor of imagination at BASPA University. So Penny, you are one of the main members of the Imagination in Classroom, and you've been instrumental on 4 events on imagination. Can you tell us more about them?
Thank you, everyone. Yes, thank you for inviting me. I feel like a special guest of the imagination. We talked about imagination as our home. Yes, I mean, the festival has shown a really beautiful range of fantastic imaginative learning projects that not only inspire creativity, but they heighten our awareness of nature and our beautiful planet, especially in relation to climate education and in the face of the ecological emergency. So I've witnessed and we've shared these spaces of possibility, spaces of encounter that highlight the importance of the arts, creativity, imagination, nature, well-being. The list is long. And so, yeah, one of the first events was the Dream Team, who shared their approaches to reimagining learning across the globe. So schools in the USA, School of the Impossible in South America, the Necessary Space, and Forest of Imagination, our project in the UK, the Solar Punk Generation, which is everywhere, and asking questions about, you know, what should be the purposes of education, needing to ask the better questions, if you like, of education, especially in the face of climate change. So I think for me, it distilled the focus on shared and compassionate values and giving hope for change, for envisioning change and achieving transformation. You know, we are on that journey together. It's a movement. I think this is a brilliant festival. Ed kept saying, "You're here again." We also had a critical session reimagining the future funding landscape with social value and social trust at the heart of an ethical, community-led funding approach, thinking about, you know, subverting the philanthropic approach. And we turned our university, for instance, into a social enterprise. So together we engaged learning across disciplines, in where we talked about learning is everywhere, learning is connected, just like a forest. I would use that metaphor. And as Valerie said, you know, we are in a learning ecosystem. I've just been to the Bio Akamalafe session with Youth by Youth group, which was incredible, as he is. And he talked about how we act within ecologies, so within these ecosystems, and that especially we learn by not knowing. I also went to the brilliant Planetisans University, I can't say it, I'm dyslexic, brilliant, and exploring how we're going to live and learn together in care and community as planetary citizens. That's what I was trying to say. And the Artivism session just now that highlighted the power of art and activism for social change. So yes, to sum up, we've shared how we can live together in relation and to create excuse me, a greener and fairer world. So, you know, for me, the emphasis on, well, for us, the emphasis on social and environmental justice and the enhancement of sustainable thinking and action, and being engaged as active ecological citizens to come up with imaginative solutions for our beautiful world.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Penny. You have made the perfect transition for me to let the floor to Art, Global Leadership at Masterpiece. And it was one of the latest session today, Art for the Planet. And it's a session that is very, really dear to me, also with imagination, but we need to recognize the potential of arts to nurture our self-esteem, creative expression, which is the kind of only way to help us find a voice. So Art, I'll let you speak about this session and the work you're doing.
Thank you, Bertil. So my deep belief is that there are 8 billion talents and not 8 billion issues. And what we saw in the Artivism, we walked the talk, we started with dance, and the power of arts in all the variety of dance, of soccer, of murals, of visualization, theater, etc., to engage the non-engaged. So, and that power is almost in every activity needed as a starting point, because one of the dilemmas is that so many people out of the 8 billion are not engaged anymore. And there is a huge trust gap. And I realize I only have 2 minutes, so let me take this opportunity to compliment the LPI Festival. And so now you see the power, we all see the power of so many like-minded. We agree everything, so we practice to the converted. So how to engage, how to organize ourselves. 12 years ago, I'm a businessman. I came into the sector of NGOs, and this is the most ineffective sector. We all together. Now the LPI shows a way forward, and Valerie, what you mentioned just with hubs, etc. So I would love to co-create with some of you. How can we create a value-driven network together? Not only this awesome, really awesome event, and next year it will even be better, but structurally, how can we, based on local ownership, create campaigns, concepts, and funding together? Because 12 years ago I said the urgency has never been higher before. I'm afraid now with 64 years, time is running out and the urgency has never been higher before. So now with all the like-minded, how to co-create, to organize this value-driven network. So this is my call to all of you. I'm ready to participate and to share my learnings and to learn from you. I think that is the next step. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now we are going to talk about major events and campaigns that are starting in the beginning of this year and in the months to come. And so I want to start with Rama. Rama, you're co-founder of Home for Humanity. You work on planetary regeneration, and I heard that you have an incredible project that you are starting in April with Alexander. So you have attended a lot of sessions. If you want to tell us about this ambitious project, we would love to hear you.
Thank you. Yes, we are both delighted to be here. Heartiest congratulations, our admiration, our gratitude to Francois, Olivier, Ed, Melody, and the whole team for this extraordinary space.
And Professor Galactico.
And especially Professor Galactic, without whom we couldn't have done any of this. We are thrilled, as Pavel said, that we've all been collective midwives to the birth of Planetism University, because it has started, and this has been a real showcase. And therefore, we are also super excited that as one of the many next steps, we will be in partnership with Planetism University and with many of you here and our other partners around the world, launching on the cusp between the 21st of April, International Day for Creativity, the word you just mentioned, and innovation, and the 22nd of April, Mother Earth Day, we will be opening the doors of the One Home Univ Earth City. So you can see the close partnership, Univ Earth City and Planetism University. You call it Planetisms, we call it Earth Citizenship, but really a non-conventional Univ Earth City open to people of all backgrounds, ages, and cultures, regardless of past educational qualifications. So every Earth citizen can become a co-creator of this future, to put it, Eri, in the Youth X Youth's words, of this world we are, of our deepest longing.
And this One Home University is built in co-creation, and it is built as we are traveling country to country from each to each and every country on the planet, all 195 in 7 years for the next 7 generations, jointly building up and co-creating an Earth curriculum, focusing on the most resilient, ecologically resilient knowledge bases in each country, on indigenous knowledge, culture, and arts, and on the most inspiring, innovative, whole life-based future building initiatives in each and every country.
And so the beauty is that every participant will, on the one hand, be discovering who we are as planetizens, discovering our planet in all its geographical diversity, cultural and indigenous diversity, and innovations for the future, while each participant will be creating with the power of 7. So, we feel every aspect of the One Home University really echoes what we have heard throughout this festival, especially Marine from the youth talks and the brilliant youth design challengers. And what we heard in this session, that learning is collaborative. So learners will be in groups of 7, and each group of learners will be using the power of 7 to co-create their own future building initiative, going on the journey of their inner home, what we heard so often, discovering their ikigai, discovering their creativity, purpose, and potential, creating their local home initiative, which is their contribution to the future, starting and grounded in their own culture and community, so that together we accelerate the systems change, the planetary paradigm shift that we all have echoed in this session and throughout the festival, that is so urgently needed, and for which education can be this huge boost.
So picking up in conclusion, this mobile One Home University is the open campus, or connects to the open campus idea of the Planetism University. It's open campus, open access, and it will be based on a gift economy. But more on that when we speak next. 22nd April, Mother Earth Day, the doors open.
And we're looking forward to see how both projects and We Learn, the AI genius of Learning Planet Institute, could be, really supporting us in this journey as Planetism University builds up. Thank you, and we are excited about this partnership.
Thank you so much.
And this co-creation.
I told you that it was an impressive project, and that's exactly, please give us more details in the chat, because it's still such a huge project that we need some more, tangible things to feel it. Thank you so much. So now I would appreciate hearing from Tom Dilly from Forum 2040. It's the first time that we are welcoming you at the Learning Planet Festival, and you are launching a great initiative on learning ecosystems in Africa. So can you tell us more about this project?
Hello, everyone. I'm so delighted to be with you. Thank you, Bertie. Thank you also, Olivier, for this invitation. It's been wonderful to see some sessions this week in the festival with burning education debates and also strong values supported. I speak here as a co-founder of Forum 2040. So we are a Pan-African think tank based here in Dakar, Senegal. And our mission is to imagine and build the future of education in Africa. So that's not an easy mission. We are so excited to fulfill it. Our work is built on a clear observation. We need to reinvent our education systems by 2040, but we are also going through a crisis of imagination. So we education stakeholders, sometimes we lack the audacity, the creativity, and also the political will to build the alternative education solutions for the future. And here in Africa, too many education systems have broken down or have been damaged in the last years, in particular in the Sahel region. And those systems are not really tailored for the overcoming demographic transitions underway. So there is a time now to reinvent the system and to make it much more efficient for everyone. So what's the way to go? We have launched this research initiative in which we're going to promote powerful new imaginaries of the education in Africa in the future. And we believe that if we can invent the future now, we are more likely to make it happen. So this year, we're going to engage in large-scale consultation of African youth in many countries. And we also be working with the youth to in different workshops to imagine the schools and the learning systems of the future. So we will provide the young people with tools, methods, and resources to imagine their ideal education solutions, also using AI on other powerful issues and tools. And we will soon be publishing our first studies and artwork about the future of education. So I'll give you more details in the chat. But clearly, it has been amazing to see the many organizations, fantastic people and initiatives in this festival. So we are very happy and very also lucky to be part of this new ecosystem. So thank you for having us. Thank you so much. And let's start the work together now.
Thank you so much, Tom. We are really looking forward to reading this report. Now I want to hear from Christine, who is a team leader at European Year of Skills at the European Commission. So thank you for joining. You have a program around skills. So how do you actively help people to get the right skills? What have you been doing lately, and what is yet to come? Christine, so let the floor on to you.
Thank you very much, Bertie, and good afternoon to all of you. I'm delighted to be with you, and as European Year of Skills, we are delighted to team up with the initiative. This is our first, so we are brand new partners, but I am very happy to discover that we are really working with the same spirit. And there were very many messages that I heard today that really resonate with us, with the work we do. And perhaps one, and you'll understand later, is working together, all of us working together. And that's what we've been trying to do with the European Year of Skills. So European Year of Skills, it's one of these European years when we want to put some theme in the center of attention. And from last May until next May in EU, it's skills. And why skills? Because we really face critical shortages of skilled people in the labor market now, and the future is even looking dimmer. So this is about raising awareness, about getting new skills, about upskilling, about reskilling, and also about changing mindsets, and at a very different level. Personal mindset that you need to learn the whole life, a mindset of an employer that training is important to be provided, and then the mindset of all the partners working together and creating this enabling environment. So what we have done, we have teamed up with our amazing stakeholders, education and training providers, teachers, learners, civil society, businesses, social partners, member states and beyond, and also international partners. And we have around 2,000 different events, actions, policy initiatives that have taken place to really raise the awareness. What we see that we have created a momentum, and skills is really on top of the agenda, both at the European Union level, but also in the countries. Now, we still have a couple of months to run. So my call to all of you in this call is to see you becoming partners to our European Year of Skills, and us really working together, because the challenge is so big that no party alone can really achieve this. So we need the work of all of you at all your different levels. So what we have seen is really encouraging, but we really need more. And of course, this shouldn't be over with 1 year. We need much more. Like you are talking about the planet continuing, we also need to see how this action continues. I particularly, and I will paste in the link, ask you to become partners of our Real People, Real Skills campaign, where we want to show skills heroes, people whose journeys, whose skills journeys inspire others. And there is nothing more powerful, we have figured, than seeing the eyes of a person to whom new skills have opened new doors, be it a new job, be it more self-confidence, being participation in the society on a full scale. So please, please become our partners and share your skills heroes for us. So the link will follow, but absolutely delighted to be part of this today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Big thanks to you, Christine, for these incredible efforts. And now I will invite François Gray, Director of SDG Solutions Space, University of Geneva, to provide your perspective on an idea also that you add the Olympiads around SDGs. So tell us a bit more about this project.
You're mute, François.
Yeah, we can't hear you, François.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm standing here in front of the United Nations in Geneva.
It's a stunt.
And I'm here to tell you about something that we're going to launch this year with the Learning Planet Institute, which is the SDG Olympiad. The SDG Olympiad builds on the SDG summer schools that we've been running for several years now in Geneva and Paris. Last year, we had SDG summer schools in Bangkok, in Lagos, and Nairobi. And this year, we expect to have a dozen or so SDG summer schools around the world, leading to an awards ceremony that will take place at the Learning Planet Institute on the 26th of September this year. That's a very special day. It's the day that marks 100 years since the signature of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child in Geneva, the so-called Geneva Declaration. That was, a monumental breakthrough for young people, for children at that time. It was accepted by the League of Nations. The League of Nations used to be in this building that now says United Nations. I mention that because that's a reminder that our attempts to do global activities can fail. The League of Nations, of course, came to a bitter end with the Second World War. And I'm going to show you another reminder of the challenges ahead. This is the chair set up on the Place des Nations to remind us about the damage done by landmines to young people in particular. And that is a reminder that wars must stop everywhere now, right? So how does the SDG Summer School and SDG Olympiad contribute to this? Well, we expect young teams of innovators to find solutions to the problems we're struggling with ourselves. That's ambitious, but it can be done. We use crowdsourcing, AI, and above all, we use the support that a network of summer schools around the globe can give young people so that they feel that they're part of something bigger than just what they're doing in their own university, in their own class. So I welcome you in Geneva on the 31st of May. Just across the street here, you can see a building which is the ITU, the International Telecommunications Union. We will launch the SDG Olympiad on the 31st of May, which is the Youth Day of the World Summit on the Information Society. So welcome to Geneva. See you soon.
Thank you, François. We love Geneva, and thank you for this amazing message. So last but not least, now I will invite Won Jung-byun to speak. She is a team leader at Greening Education Partnership at UNESCO. So Won, you participated in greening education during the International Day of Education on the 24th of January. And you have discussed environmental sustainability initiatives in schools, in K-12 education. So what's your next steps? What are the best learning that we can, what are the best thing to say about the greening education?
Thank you very much, Bertie. And first of all, big congratulations to François, Olivier, Melody, and the whole team for yet another edition of amazing Learning Planet Festival. So indeed, on the day of International Day of Education, we had a special session focused on greening education, how education tackles climate change and sustainability challenges. And in fact, we've discussed with some of the examples coming from Tanzania and other countries to see that to respond to young people's concerns, that only, according to our study, 70% of young people that we've surveyed said that they don't feel ready to tackle climate change and live in this climate crisis based on what they have learned in their school. So looking at this kind of challenge, as some of you might already know, this Greening Education Partnership was born at the UN Transforming Education Summit in 2022. And together we are working towards the goal of getting every learner climate ready. And this is really important because there are these pockets of silos and good practices across the world. But given the urgency of climate crisis, it's really now the time to work together. And I loved some of the comments like what Christine said earlier about no one can do this job alone. Indeed, we have to work together to create and connect the dots to make the changes that are needed in a timely manner. So in that regard, this Greening Education Partnership in 2023, we've grown over 1 year to having 82 member states and over 1,100 organizations joining forces on this agenda of climate education. And now also at COP28, we had a renewed political commitment coming from 43 countries endorsing political declaration on climate and education. So building upon the fact that we have this great platform of partnership and political commitment, now in 2024 and onwards, it's really the time to take action. And in that regard, we will be launching the Greening Curriculum Guidance and Green School Quality Standard, which will be the defining common language of what we mean by quality climate education. And then a way for us, an important tool for us to move towards our common goal of getting all the curriculum and schools climate ready by 2030. So I would like to invite everybody, we'll share the link in the chat, to join us in this movement. Please, if you go to this website.
Juan, I don't know why, but you're on mute. Yeah.
Thank you very much and look forward to our partnership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juan, and I will leave the floor to Edward now. I just really loved your message about the mindset and the culture of institutions and companies and everyone who wants to, I mean, in order to develop projects, we're still doing things on our own, controlling things on our own. And if we want to genuinely transform things, we need to get used to kind of letting go, letting people ask the real question, getting together, answering back, and that's great. So thank you all of you for these insights, highlights. There's plenty of things to do based on this material. So just I let the floor to Ed. Ed, if you're here or if you're around. I know that you're here at the LPI.
I'm about 2 doors away from you, Bertie. A round of applause from everyone via emojis for Bertie for managing to get through so seamlessly and warmly through so many different partners, amazing events and solutions. It's always a pleasure every year to hear and also to see many people in the room today and over the course of the week that we're here this time last year or this time the year before. And it's always a reminder of seeing how this initiative, how this movement, how this kind of event over the week grows and develops. So we really say thank you to all of you. So thank you to all of you. I'm Ed from the team, formerly a student here at the Institute and now working, building our youth community across the LearningPlanet Alliance. And it's a pleasure now just to take a little bit of time as we close off this session to reflect on what's happened. We'll be hearing from Lucy, for example, one of our amazing youth fellows, and a shout out because Lucy is currently midway through mentoring Hager, and this is part of Hager's mentoring experience. So I put this as a challenge to all of you this year. Maybe think firstly, if you were to bring a mentee or a mentor to an event, who would it be? And maybe as a challenge, bring them along at some point in 2024. So thanks, Lucy. We'll also be hearing from Stefania Giannini, the ADG for Education from UNESCO, who was joining live, but unfortunately last minute was unable to participate in person, but has shared a short video. And we'll be also hearing finally from Pearl, our winner of the Plantation University Design Challenge, and we'll share a little bit more for those that are not aware what that was about. But firstly, I just give the floor to Francois, the Chief Exploration Officer for LearningPlanet Institute, to share some of your reactions, having participated in a record number of sessions over the course of this week.
Thank you so much, Ed. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. Obviously, this was an amazing week. Just the summary of all the brilliant session was itself brilliant, and it's hard to synthesize everything. But what some of the highlights for me were hearing the voice of the youth from all over the world. Maybe even more so from those that come from the most underprivileged conditions, especially Afghanistan. I think hearing those voices, I think, was one of the most moving sessions, and I'm still quite shaky when I think of the challenges that they are facing, and anything that we could be doing to help would be obviously none of us alone can do it, but maybe the whole community that and the whole movement that the Learning Planet Festival has assembled can contribute, each one in our own level, and that's probably true for Afghanistan, but that's true for everywhere, because everywhere we have challenges for learning, and actually we need to build this planetary learning ecosystem. So we've heard from lots of people about various local ecosystems, but the planetary global ecosystem is sort of emerging, and that I think is one of the best news, because clearly the planet is not getting better on many fronts, but I think that the alliance of that is emerging, and the many threads that we've heard are starting to be woven together into the most beautiful fabric and tapestry for the future. And that, I think, is, for me, the most inspiring component. We've heard several times already about the idea of planets and university. We'll hear in a minute about the students' perspective, thanks to the design challenge that Ed has wonderfully organized. And we had hundreds of answers, and so many people, including in the jury. We just heard that the jury members were moved. I was part of the jury members, and I was just as moved as what we've heard. And I believe that indeed giving youth the voice and the agency is the way forward. And it's not just my perspective. I think many of you know that the UN Secretary General during the Transforming Education Summit was saying there's these 4 ways to interact with youth. The first one is to ignore them. The second is to pretend to listen. And he said United Nations and many other organizations have done 1 and 2 for too long. The third one, according to him, is to have a dialogue with youth. And the fourth one is co-construct the future. And this year is the year of the Summit of the Future for the United Nations. So next September, many of you probably will be at General Assembly in the UN, and what it is that we can present. Last year, students' voice was heard. They wanted to create a planetary university. They wanted to become, planetary citizens aware of the planetary boundaries, wanting to reinvent global citizenship beyond the historical constraints that were neither inclusive nor ecological. And I think that voice has been heard by many actors, and we're trying to co-construct that future with the youth. And that's really what's going on. And so I think I should give the floor to the amazing youth that will speak about these things much better than I would. And then maybe at some point, you were talking about bringing mentors. Ed, I think I brought mine. That's Professor Galactic, and maybe we'll talk about what Professor Galactic can teach us a little later.
Thank you very much, Francois. So indeed, we'll pass straight on to Lucy, one of our youth fellows who has had the unique position of participating both on the on-the-ground events in Paris, online through Ikigai, and through also our design challenge as well. So Lucy, it'd be lovely to hear from you a few moments. What were some of the highlights for you from the festival this year, and what's exciting you about being a youth fellow moving into 2024?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for offering for giving the opportunity to speak. I'm with Agar, who would like to present.
Hello, my name is Agar.
I am 11 years old. I live in Paris. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very glad to be here, even though I'm with Agar for the mentor session, and I've been very happy to spend some time on the institution here in Paris for the opening ceremony with very inspiring speakers whom I since a few months now, and I've been very inspired both by the teachers and the activists and all the organizers of events. And I also really like the Bright Mirror workshop. And I, of course, love all the sessions online. I also took part in the Youth and Youth festival as well. And I continue to take part, I think, tomorrow with the Climate and Nature Cafe. And yeah, I think I love moments online to see people from all around the world, and in Paris as well, because it's very exciting to meet actually a lot of people and get time to discuss and get lunch together. I also had lunch with another youth fellow who arrived also in Paris. She's from Vietnam, and it was great to see and meet her at that time. So yeah, a lot of very exciting moments.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Lucy, for sharing. And Lucy's also been part of our Ikigai program, which we didn't manage to mention just in the session until now, but has been maybe Lucy, you could just share very briefly on it, because we had some sessions on that as well this week.
Yeah, I took part in the program a few months ago, and for different chapters with different modules about authentic networking, about kind of defining how I want to act based on what I'm good at, what the world needs, and yeah, I think it helped me to kind of put words on kind of a mission I want to achieve in this life, and I think it's very good to do like at different times of your life, and to kind of put a perspective with that. And the last chapter that I did with Ilya was also very good to see like how I can put it in action. So yeah, definitely recommend it to a lot of people.
Thank you so much, Lucy. Just putting in the chat where we're at with that program and a little bit more about it in case you're interested in learning a little bit more. But now what we're going to do is pass on to look a bit more in detail at one of our new formats for this year for the festival, which has been our Global Youth Planters and University Youth Design Challenge. And it's really been rooted in finding different ways of recognizing the new and existing ideas of young people on learning programs for engaged, flourishing, and sustainable universities. And so we've been really fortunate to gather in this first round over 100 first applications, 70 of which were reviewed by an international jury, some who are on the call today, such as Osseretin, and came from around the world. And it's a real pleasure that we'll be hearing from the winner of that challenge, Pearl, in a second. But before we do that, we'll just give the floor to Stefania to share a little bit more on why for her these forms of challenges and Planters in University is an important new initiative.
I wish to congratulate all participants of Building a Planet in the University Design Challenge, which was launched last year, and we received the LearningPlanet Institute very much supported and accompanied by UNESCO in this process. A lot of interesting, inspiring ideas. We count on the power of your imagination to really not only dream, but actually concretize the idea of the university of the future. University is the place where, based on research, transmission of knowledge, innovation, we can and we must reshape the future. We must reshape the world we need when it comes to climate change, when it comes to democracy, tolerance, and building on the values that are actually UNESCO's values, building peace. And as you maybe know, the Constitution of UNESCO clearly said many years ago, 78 years ago, that as the war actually starts in women and men's mind, we have to build a defense for peace in women and men's mind. And that's the time really to mobilize for that. Thank you so much. And we are very much keen to have even more and more inspiring ideas in the months and years to come.
Wonderful, and I am just adding into the chat the link to all of the submissions, which is on our projects platform, which I do encourage you when you get an opportunity to look through, and you'll see that each are evolving iterative journeys. The participants will be updating them as they go over these coming weeks, and don't hesitate to identify some that you think you might be able to nourish or potentially support. And before I just pass on to Pearl, I'll put also into the link into the chat a form that we shared just after the session yesterday, which is a chance for you to share any ways that you think you might be able to support the development of these programs that have been proposed by some really amazing students worldwide. So I encourage you to have a look at that. I'd love, before I do that, to give the floor to Pearl to share your reactions. Congratulations, and maybe in a few words more on your program that you proposed, and what's been your experience at the festival so far.
Thanks so much, Ed, and hi everyone. It's great to share the space with you all. At first, when I saw the Youth Design Challenge, I said to myself, let's just take a chance and use it as a platform to represent unheard or unvoiced voices, especially with communities that are seen as a minority and don't really get the platform that they deserve. Especially in the fast-paced society we're living in right now, there's a lot of people that are going to get left behind if we don't bring them on board as well. So I had a lot of ideas and thoughts about what these projects could be. But one stuck out to me the most because it's something that there's not a lot of programs for. And it's something that a lot of these communities advocate for themselves, but don't really see a collective activism around it. So when I submitted my project, it was for Indigenous Knowledge Systems for Transformation, which aims to interweave in global Indigenous knowledge systems for a more transformed world and society. So what it plans to do is resurrect the past, values, knowledges, and best practices from these global Indigenous communities like the Maori or the Aborigines, the Khoisan, but tapping into all of these communities from the 7 continents as well, and using this as a tool to sort of inform how we can look towards the future and create the social impact that we want to as well. It's connecting the past to the future by also reintegrating everyone in the spirit of humanity and regaining the essence of humanity as well. It allows for us to focus on engaging communities to create more flourishing and sustainable societies as well. So a little bit more about the program is that it was going to, first one is transformation of self, because I think it's being reiterated here that you can't create global transformation and change if you don't create the transformation from within as well. We focus a lot on sustainable development goals, but we don't focus on our internal development goals first. So it's using these values and systems to actually transform our perspectives and also to provide that reconnection and form of interconnectedness and interbeing. Thereafter, it subsequently goes on to transformation of learning. So a lot of the time with the new curriculums that are coming into play, students and youth do not know and understand how to learn. And that's been a problem that's been seen across the board. So it's using these to actually tell you, well, how can we transform the learning process? Thereafter, once these are gained, it goes on to transformation of the environment, such as the global issues that we see today. And the last theme would be connecting the past to the future. It's in a format of 30, 40, 20, and 10, 30% being a theoretical component where these Indigenous community members come in and shed light about their culture and create awareness around it. The 40% is practical, where the participants enrolled onto the program would engage in activities and exercises which promote self-awareness, interconnectedness, and interbeing based on what was taught in the theoretical section. The latter 20% would be in the form of community-style cafes, where participants would be able to interact with community members of these indigenous communities as well. And the last 10% would be in an asynchronous fashion, so that we create these community pods for more intercultural exchanges. And this was also supposed to be done in a very online fashion, so that we reach people from all geographic regions, and it's diverse as well, but it can also be adapted, scaled, and structured to meet hybrid spaces and different aspects such as business or education, etc. And the other part is that it connects. It's based on the form of interconnectedness and inclusivity and humanity, but also allowing diaspora of these indigenous communities to also reconnect back to their roots and cultures as well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pearl. I see some applause for you in the chat as well. Amazing, amazing job. And two, I think, suggestions for each of you. Do take a look at Pearl's project. The link is in the chat. If you go into Team, you'll see also you can reach out to Pearl or leave comments on there should you have any feedback. And then there is also, and I'll put it again just last time, the link towards the interest form, where you can be sharing any ways that you might be able to help us amplify and support and accompany these youth projects. In the 2 minutes just before we finish, I'll give the floor back to Francois to share briefly what's coming up next for us, and closing thoughts to finish off this 2024 edition of the festival.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to hear Lucy, Pearl, Ed, and all of you. You know, when I listen to Pearl, for instance, I realize that universities have been historically designed by white male of my age. And the fact that historically both citizenship and universities were in the hands of, you know, a very small subset of the human population is probably what has created some of the problems that we see today. And if we are to redesign the universities with the people that were historically excluded from university, and you know that includes women, that includes indigenous people, that includes so many minorities around the world, when we are to co-design with, you know, Pearl and her generation, I think that we can really make a difference. And so that's for me one of the biggest hope. And so what we've decided collectively within the LearningPlanet University Institute, and you know within all of our community to help projects such as Pearl's and you know the tens of others that we've received to go as far as possible. So what we would like to build is a sort of an incubator for those projects, so we can help Pearl and her peers to move on with those ideas. And we would like to do this, you know, starting next month, so, you know, next week. And we want to do this collectively. So every one of you, as Ed was saying, that wants to participate is more than welcome to do so. But we would like to take advantage that this year is rather special. It's special because we talked about the Summit for the Future. So, you know, what it is we want to present in September at the General Assembly. It will be wonderful to have Pearl and her peers to present, you know, their vision of the prototype of this Planet Design University. But I think it's also a special year, especially in Paris, because it's an Olympic year. And so, you know, can we present some of these things during the Olympic Games, during the Paralympic Games? Can we invite every engaged citizen of the planet, every planetizen, to come and celebrate their engagement? So, for instance, inviting athletes and Paralympic athletes to declare their engagement and present them together with youth, together with artists, together with all the educators and all the projects that, you know, the global community that we've just heard can come together and foster together another perspective, and show that even if we are in periods of crisis, periods of wars, period of climate change, we can come together to make a difference. And that's what this Planet Design University is all about. You know, we've heard, for instance, in the previous session on artivism, that maybe the best possible school of arts at the Planetary University is the School of Artivism. And it's a school that can serve everyone, especially, for instance, the women in Afghanistan that are lacking the ability to have an art school to be able to foster further their amazing ability to express what they have in their hearts, what they have in their brains, what they have to offer to the world. And I think that, you know, being able to redesign a university and doing this with UNESCO, with United Nations University, with so many international organizations, is an amazing privilege. And it's, you know, when we have the support of Audrey Azoulay and Stefania Giannini and the Rector Marwala, I mean, that's amazing because it can help us to move forward and give the credibility and legitimacy to these young people so that they can move forward faster. So this is exactly what we are aiming at collectively. And obviously, you know, this will not happen without everyone's contribution. You know, I was pleased to hear several times that, you know, what we are building is a movement, and that's exactly what we need to do, and we need to do it together. So, you know, please join us and help us move forward the needle to make the difference that is needed for the future and for the future generation. And so, you know, co-designing this university and co-evolving it years after years. So, you know, we have 70 ideas coming from the youth. I hope next year we'll have, you know, many more, as Stefania was saying. And I think that, you know, this ability of reinventing the planet and our abilities to work on this together, using everyone's intelligence, you know, the intelligence of the youth, the intelligence of the previous generations, but also the intelligence of the machines, the intelligence of, you know, all the animals, and you know, it is in the loop that currently AI will be able to break the same way it broke human language and is able to communicate with us. Some people believe that they can have machines talk to, for instance, whales. And so if we are to redesign the future of the oceans and how to clean it, maybe we should, you know, use the wisdom of the other forms of intelligence that exist on this planet. And we can maybe even invite, you know, other forms of intelligence coming from other planets, such as, you know, this little one. This is Professor Galactic. He's crossed the galaxy because the only thing that travels faster than light is imagination. So, you know, if you want to put imagination in power, if you want to learn from Professor Galactic, come and visit us in Paris anytime. We'll be happy to discuss online or in vivo. Thank you so much for all your energy and contribution, and see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Francois. And thanks everyone for your time, energy all week. Have a great weekend ahead, and see you very soon.
Thank you, everyone. Such a great pleasure.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much.
Thank you,
Have a
Learning
good
Planet.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bravo, Learning Planet.
Merci, au
Looking
revoir.
forward to seeing how the seeds ripe in 2024 and beyond.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Give us a week, as François said. We'll update you.